My computer. Welcome everybody. Ian Murray here, head coach of the LA Tri Club, USAT lead coach. Carla Weir is here, lead coach of the LA Tri Club, USAT certified coach. And we have a bunch of athletes we know on here, and we're expecting some that are not LA Tri Club members, people that we don't coach directly. But our goal here is this, to take our combined 50, 60 years of athletic preparation and I'm going to guess and say 30 WildFlower finishes and then some even camps and clinics beyond that took place there and kind of mash it all together and give you the best advice we can give for the big WildFlower weekend. So um, we're gonna do this in chronological order, and here's where I want to start. On Monday, the 28th of April, the very best thing you can do for WildFlower is the same very best thing you can do for any race you go to, which is to bank sleep. You're not going to sleep all that well the night before your race. Very few people do because it's a nervous time. You have to get up very early in the morning. There's just complications. And to that end, it's very nice if you can really book in good quality 8.5 hour nights of sleep on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then whatever happens the night before the race, it doesn't matter because you'll be fresh and ready to go. So keep that in mind going into WildFlower and everything. Um, I can imagine um, one, two, three, four, five, six variations on camping at WildFlower, and we're going to get into all of those. But first, I want to talk about when you might go and the route you might take from the LA area. So, Carla, I'm going to jump right into this if it's okay.
Oh,
All right. Um, it's really cool there. I mean, it's a park. If you've never been, it's a park. It's been a state park for a long, long time. It's loaded with live oak trees that are dripping with Spanish moss. There are what's the collective noun? Oh, I can't remember. There are groups of turkeys. It's I can't remember. There are groups of turkeys and deer everywhere, and it's beautiful. It's also there's no light pollution there because there's very little around. So the stars at night are fantastic. And the entire campground, the population of it, which in years past has been 5,000, 6,000 people. This year it might be 2,000, 3,000 people, but everybody's there for a singular purpose. Everybody's crazy fit. Everybody's into triathlon. It's a really, really fun environment. And so arriving there on Friday is well worth it. And to drive up in the morning pretty early is nice. And what I recommend is if you're staying in the campground, and I think you should, then one of the best things to do is to stop at one of the natural foods markets that's in San Luis Obispo and do some shopping. Fill your cooler, fill some grocery bags for the weekend, and then motor up and try and land in the park before 1 or 2 in the afternoon. It's not mandatory that you get there any earlier, but if you do, it just makes for a nice, casual, relaxing time there. And so that's a really nice thing to explore. I'm going to share my screen because I want to talk about some of the routes that you can take to get there. So here's Santa Monica to Lake San Antonio. And if you're doing the Olympic or you're doing the off-road sprint or the on-road sprint, then this is a 5 hour, 246-mile drive up the 101. So you'd head up the 101, you'd go through Santa Barbara, um, through Santa Maria, past Pismo, and you'd get to a place where maybe you'd want to stop and load up with supplies before you get to Paso Robles. That's this town right here. And you'd get off. By the way, if you're doing long course, don't take this route. Right here, it's where your route's going to change. I'll get to it in a second. But if you're doing Olympic or either of the sprints, you get off here in Paso. If you don't want to shop in slow, then shop here and then take Nacimiento Lake Drive up through the vineyards and the ranches. And you will slide past Lake Nacimiento and you will arrive here into the Lake San Antonio campground. Okay. Um, if you're doing long course, this is my recommendation. drive the 101 to Paso, okay? And shop there if you need to, but then continue to go north on the 101, okay? So here we are in Paso, and you're going to continue north on the 101 for about 20 miles, and you're going to get off right here at the Holon Road exit number, what is this, 252. And when you get off this ramp and you're forced to go left underneath the 101, there's no other place to go. You'll come to this first intersection right here, which is Holon Road, and Nacimiento Lake Drive. And the reason why I recommend you do that is because that intersection right there is mile 34.7 of the long course. And what you'll end up doing is driving the back half, the hardest portion of the long course bike route. So here we are, right? You've just come off the 101 on this exit at Holon Road. You've come underneath the freeway. I don't know, 100 meters later, you're going to want to turn left. And when you do, this is mile 34.7 of the long course. And what you're looking at, if you follow my cursor and you follow the topography at the bottom of this map, you'll kind of roll along through this bucolic, beautiful area. There's a river right here with a big metal bridge. You're going to go across that. You can't miss it. And then as soon as you come around the corner after that, you're starting what's known as nasty grade. And if you look at the topographical portion at the bottom of the screen here, I'm at mile 41.3. This thing tops out at 43.7. It's about 2.5 miles of uphill, and there's a real wall right here where it's 16% grade. There's going to be people on the side of the road here cheering. There's going to be Tour de France style writing on the pavement. And you will want to go hard here thinking, thank God it's over. It isn't. You have to keep your cool because you turn right here, you climb a little bit more, and then there is a screaming descent that follows that. That is incredibly long, and it drops down, 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 down. It also can be dangerous because the roads here are kind of rough and bumpy, so you got to hold on. And you get to the bottom, and then you've got a nice casual climb, and you've only got 10 miles left to the bike. But this nasty grade is something that you need to see and know because that is a real stinger. So to that end, if you're going a long course, stop in Paso if you need to, but then continue north on the 101, exit just past Bradley at Holon Road, and then make your first left after going under the freeway and really study what goes on in the course because this is the last 22 miles of your bike route. Questions about that long course, people, or other folks driving up for other races? Yeah, okay. All right. We got just a couple more people coming in, and while we do that, I want to bring up another uh, icon that I have here that shows the camping area. Give me 1 second. Here it is.
A quick question, actually.
Thank you.
So I've been like going back and forth on whether I should bring my tri bike or my road bike. I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time with the tri bike with 16%. What do you think? Or do you think it'd be
You're
worth
racing, Caitlin, you're racing long course.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think you should bring your tri bike.
Okay.
My question would be, what's the easiest gear on the road bike? What's the easiest gear on the tri bike? And I would need to know the number of teeth on the small chainring up front, and I want the number of teeth on the big cog in the back, because that's your granny gear. And the reason I say tri-bike right away without knowing the gearing is because, yeah, there is a 2 mile section that's very steep and it's a bitch. However, there's 50 miles of I'm going to be an arrow rolling along and I'm going to rest on my humerus bones and I'm going to be tucked up and I'm going to be flying. So I still say bring the tri-bike, survive the steep section there, and ride the rest of the thing with good speed and comfort. The only thing you might do is you might look at the cassette on the tri-bike and think, oh my goodness, you know, my biggest cog on the cassette is a 23 or a 25. Well, there's 28s, there's 30s, there's 32s. There's cassettes out there that you can go to. And it would be worth it to swap out the cassette so that you'd have that bailout gear to get up the steep hill. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen one more time because I want to get into this. When you pull into the park, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's just so beautiful. It's going to be super green. You're going to drive into a pretty standard kiosk park entry gate. And there's going to be some local high school kid in there, bored to tears, who's going to be checking your name off of a list because when you registered for the race, you probably acquired access to the campground. And then as you drive in, you're going to look for this right turn, and there's going to be signage, like handmade signs that either Carla or I or somebody who arrived early has stuck in there with the LA Tri Club logo. And you're going to turn right into the Redondo Vista campground. You're going to turn right and come up this little hill. And then we are going to gather in Redondo Vista, E as in Edward, E loop right here. So make a note on that so that we can all kind of camp in a similar area. And now that I say that, I think I'm ready to talk about the, I don't know, potential 4 or 5 places you could stay here. So just randomly, I'm going to pick one. You can stay in a hotel. You can stay in a hotel in Paso Robles or in where at King City. Those are your two hotel locations that are nearest to the race. The problem is this. They close the park road at like 6 a.m. or something absurd. So you're going to have to get up at 4 to drive in to make it into the park. And then you can't leave in your car until the last athlete is off the bike course. So it can be a long, long day if you're staying outside. There's another place to stay, and that is right next to Lake San Antonio, where our race is held, is Lake Nacimiento. And Nacimiento has Airbnb condos built up alongside that a lot of people who own boats there, fishing and water ski boats, own and rent out. And I've stayed there too. They're fine. They're a lot like going to a ski resort. You can rent there, but it's the same deal, which is you have to get in crazy early because they close the road into the park, and the road into the park is several miles to get to the transition area. So also there's another factor, and that is you really miss WildFlower is more than just a triathlon. People hang out, people get drunk. There's bands playing down in the expo. Like there's a real like festival atmosphere there, and it's fun to be in a part of that. And so now it brings me into the other options, which is you can bring an RV in. I think all the full hookup spots are gone, but it doesn't matter. You could rent a mini Winnebago, drive it up from anywhere in LA. You could probably get one even outside of LA and leave your car there and just make it a shorter trip and just run off the battery and water in the tank and be comfortable there. You can also camp because you're in a car. This isn't like you're going to go minimal because you don't want to carry the weight on your back. You could drive in there with whatever enormous tent you want. You could drive in there and sleep in your car. You could bring any mattress, cotton sheet, perfect pillow, comforter, whatever you wanted to make it perfect. I have done this from 1996 through to like, I don't know, 6 years ago or whenever we stopped. And I've done every variation on that. The first year that Alexander and I went, we stayed in King City and drove in. And I never did that again. I always stayed in the park. I've slept in tents, I've slept in a bivy sack, I've slept in RVs, I've done it all there, and all of them are good. You can make them comfortable. So I urge you to make a decision on that. And I hope that, and if you don't own camping gear, what I would recommend is do the sports basement package. And they'll just rent you everything and you just lay it out and inflate your mattress and sleep in it in total comfort and you're good to go. Questions about where you're staying?
We know we got a entrance when we registered.
I think you can go into the Wildflower Experience website and go into your account because you can it's like an existing shopping basket and you can keep adding on, I want another t-shirt or I want socks or the backpack. And then you can look at what you're registered for and the campgrounds and everything. So I think you can see it all in there. I haven't done that myself yet, but that's what it's intended to do.
Hey Ian, how close is the our campground E to like the restroom, showers, and all that good stuff?
Okay, this is a great question. There, right next to Redondo Vista E Loop, there is a brick and mortar restroom shower. And it's been hot in the years past. It's been warm in the years past. And then they do porta potties on top of that. So there's some established hardcore brick and mortar stuff there. And there's another thing I want to add in now, right before I forget, and that is the Redondo Vista E-Loop and the transition area, the expo, the register. Like there is a distance of almost a mile and an elevation of maybe 350 feet between those two places. And during the weekend, there will be no driving from the campground down to Registration Expo, et cetera, and back up. Your options would be walk to what's the hot corner, at the top of Lynch Hill and where the roads come together, and you get in a shuttle and they take you down, they'll take you back up. If it's during the race, you would walk up a dirt trail that's parallel with the paved Lynch Hill climb. If you've got a bike and you're willing to do it, you just ride down and get your stuff and ride back up. But there's never been an event ever that requires a two-strap backpack like this one. Every year that I've been there, every year, there's somebody with a single strap duffel bag over their back, loaded with wetsuit and everything else, and they're riding their bike down Lynch Hill at 28 miles an hour with people all around, and the backpack slips around and it hits the front wheel and they go down and it's broken collarbone before they even start the thing. So it's absolute that you have a legit two-strap backpack that's big enough to ride up and down the hill to get to your races and get back.
Is the campground or our loop more of an open field, or are there individual campground spots?
It's kind of an open field, but you can also find little nooks and crannies in the live oak forests where you can tuck away and get a little more privacy. There's a lot of parking, and there's people who just pull onto the grass and park. So in the past, we've taken the place over.
I was gonna say you can kind of drive your car and put the tent right next to it.
You can drive your car and just unload right there at the rear bumper.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, sorry.
all right, please.
Francie, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, should we let you know, or do we need to so if we have the spot that's like for the LA Tri Club, but then, yeah, is there do we need to let you know, so you know how many people are staying there, or?
No, come in. There's
Okay.
room for everybody there.
Okay.
And it's really loose too. There'll be some other people in and around the LA Tri Club area, but that's where we're going to congregate.
Okay, cool.
Moss?
Do we need to register for the general camping then? If
I think you have to register for general camping just to get in the park.
yeah, so
Yeah. So
okay,
for sure do that.
all right.
Yeah, matter of fact, Carla and I are considering staying Sunday night. I think she's bringing a margarita slurpee machine. Is that right, Carla? Is that what you said? Anyway, and I think we have to pay for an extra night just to be in the park for that. So we have to contemplate how we're going to
There's the Monday add-on option.
the Monday add-on option. Yeah, if you're going to spend the one more night.
I got that too because I don't want to deal with driving home.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
I had a question. Is that it's a pretty big, there's Harris and then there's Lynch and Redondo. Do they have shuttles for guests and people who are with and stuff?
Yeah, there's shuttles that go all around there to let spectators, get down to the expo, watch the finish, come back up, etc. Lynch, hang on, let me share my screen again. This thing's massive, you guys. It's so massive. So here I am. I'm gonna zoom in here. And I'm gonna go to satellite mode so we can really see it. Okay. All right, so right here, this huge parking lot is transition. And the swim ramp is this boat ramp right here. That's where the swim start is. And I've got better pictures, but let's just start with the big picture look. And this is called the Lynch boat launch, or the Lynch campground. And then right in here, you can see that there's a giant building here and a big grassy area, and the finish arch is right in here. And so this all becomes a huge expo. There's a grassy area here with a kids' playground, and this is where the finish stand and bandstand has been in the past, and this is where they do results and awards. And then this whole area just gets filled up with food trucks and 10 by 10 tents and everything else. It gets really mobbed. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to follow Lynch Road, okay, from right. And by the way, Olympic and sprint, that both those races, you have a mountain line, you have 150 meters of flat, and then you're climbing Lynch Road, and you're climbing 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 and you're climbing, and it doesn't top out until up here. It's just about a half a mile, and it's seriously steep in places. And so it's a hard way to start a bike ride. And if you're thinking, oh, it's okay, he said long course isn't doing this. Long course goes out this bumpy, weird road. So does the off-road sprint, by the way. We'll get to all these details in a minute. And then long course goes up Beach Road, which is about a half a mile, and it's crazy steep. Like you have to get up out of the lake no matter what you're doing. So I want to get rid of this stuff. There we go. So right up in here, there's like a maintenance facility. This is the top of the road, and this is where Lynch Road comes into San Antonio. We call this the hot corner because both Olympic and long course, the bike comes up here, the bike goes back down here, and the run course comes down here. So if you were going to just bring a lawn chair and a cooler and spectate, this is where you'd come. Also, this is where a lot of the shuttle buses start and end right here, and then people just walk into their campgrounds. Our campground is right here, and I'm going to zoom in because here's the brick and mortar bathroom and showers right here. Here's this gazebo thing, which might have other bathrooms in it. I can't remember. And then there's this grassy area inside a fence that gets that has sprinklers on it, and so it's a really nice place to camp because it's a little softer and it's a little more lush. And then littered around this driveway are all these RV spots all the way around. And it looks like there's another bathroom and shower I think over here that I haven't even been to. So when you drive in here, let me come out to the park. Here's the park entrance gate right here. There's a kiosk right here. You're going to drive in here, give them your name. They let you in. You go up a little hill around this corner, and maybe a mile later, you turn right here into the Redonda Vista entry, and there'll be a sign right here with LA Tri Club logo on it. And when you come in, you'll turn right again, and then boom, up this little hill, you're right at Redonda Vista E, and there'll be signage all along so you know where to get to. And people just camp out anywhere along here, anywhere. There's also a whole nother boat ramp down here at Lynch. Where am I? Here we go. So down here, there's Harris Creek. This is like a whole nother zone. You've got another huge parking lot. You've got another boat ramp. And back in the day when we were having severe drought and they were draining this lake, this is the only place they could swim because there was no water left in the other end where we use now. So this is a huge area with lots of different nooks and
This
crannies.
is Ian's got his
So this is a place to be fully aware.
wildflower seminar on.
Yeah.
I'm listening. Yeah, it's in my.
Rosalind, I'm going to mute you. Okay, so there's a really good system here, and the Redonda Vista E-Loop is close enough to both the shuttles and accessing the Lynch Hill to get down to where all the action happens. So just be aware of that. Okay. Can we go into course details and let's do it in chronological order? Yeah, okay. So let's talk swim first. So I'm going to share and I'm going to bring up some images that I have of, here they come. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Here's the boat ramp on race day. There's a giant inflatable arch. That's the start. Timing mat is right underneath it. They have taken this dock and moved it over so that it's kind of narrower than it is normal. Normally, this dock is way over against the edge. Now, the reason why this boat ramp looks so incredibly long in this picture is because the lake was lower. I think the lake is going to be much higher than this. I think it's at 78% or something. So the start arch could be way up by this vehicle up here, by this ambulance. And so there might be less ramp to run up to get to your bike on our race day than when this picture took place. While we're here and we're close enough, what I want to say is this. If you're a good swimmer and you want to be competitive in your field, this is my advice to you. I want you to be standing right here next to this side of the arch and be the first person in line. and you'll be able to see the person who stands right on this dock right here. You can watch them. You can watch them count down. You can watch the tendons in their finger like start to squeeze around the trigger. You know it's going to happen. And you go and you swim 25 yards very fast. And then when you get out to the end of this dock, which I'm going to show you in another picture in a second, then you can pull over and slow down a little bit. But if you're in the middle of this or if you're in the back, because of how narrow the docks are, there's a scrum that takes place there that's worse than most races. And so I think it's important to get out, get away from the group, give 25 yards hard, and then settle down and cruise. So let me show you the other image I have because it's this plus a little distance right here. So here you can see that this buoy right here is your first turn buoy. It's a right shoulder turn buoy. In fact, all of the turn buoys are right shoulder except when you're coming back. This is the left. So the idea is if you can get out here a little bit, then it opens up tremendously and you won't get beat up as badly. But that first 25 yards between the docks can be pretty chaotic. As you can see, no surf. Even when it gets windy, it's pretty smooth on this lake because it's narrow. Um, it's a really nice place to swim. It's not super clear, but it's clean. Like you can feel how clean it is, and it's really nice. So this is a look of the first two buoys of the course.
Water temp, do we know? Or
Yeah,
Yeah, the water temp is supposed to be between 65 and 68.
okay,
yeah, good.
that's nice.
I made a note here because, again, we're back here, and you can see in this picture that the docks are very far apart, but on race day, they moved this one over. Okay. In the big years, this is quite an enormous, this is like 3 football fields. It's huge. And in the big years, this thing almost filled up. And I think this year, this will probably be a quarter full or something like that. Over on this other end of this enormous paved parking lot, there's a trail here. And in years past, you could walk down this trail. It's dirt, and there was a dock down here. And you could get in and do a warm-up swim out here. Come back in, hop on the dock, climb up, and then walk back across to your transition area, leave your stuff, and come down to get ready to swim. If you choose not to do that, it's okay because typically there's about 3 minutes between each wave. And if you get right on the back of the wave that starts before you, as they're swimming out to the buoy, you can just swim out 100, turn around, swim back, put in a couple of, 10, 12 stroke turnovers with some recovery. And it's not a complete warm up, but it's pretty good. And if you can be satisfied with that, then that's all you need is that 3 minutes between waves. We'll know the details of that when we get there and register. We'll see the separation of the waves, so we'll get an idea of it. Okay. I'm just going to flick over really quickly to the course, and I'm going to go to distances. I'm going to go to long course, and I'm going to click on map and course details. And then right here, we're going to see the swim. I'm going to zoom in here, and you're just going to get a look at it right here. So it's really straightforward. You leave the ramp, you swim out to that buoy we saw, you turn right, you just go way on down. And by the way, this is sort of easterly, so there can be sun in your face for this section. 2 very close right turn buoys here, and then you're coming back and you exit. The Olympic is identical to this, except the turn buoys are just, halfway. The sprint, typically we swim out, there's 1 buoy or 2 right here, really close, and it's just turn, and you're back, and it's very short. So that gives you an idea of what the swim is like. I'm ready to move on from the swim. Are there any questions about it?
Yeah, I have a question. Is the long course and the Olympic swim at the same time?
Oh, that's a great question. And no, let's look at the schedule
here-
really quick.
Oh yeah, I have it in my notes, so it's real easy.
Good,
The
Carl.
long course is on Saturday. It's an 8 a.m. start.
Okay.
And then you've got until 9:45 till the sprint starts. So there's quite a bit of time between the long course start and the sprint. So for those of you who are racing the Olympic, it's a good idea to observe what that course looks like, because it's going to be the same course for you. It's just going to be a little bit shorter. And then on Sunday, it starts with the off-road sprint. at 8 a.m.
Sunday on-road sprint.
Onward, sorry. Sunday is on-road sprint. That's the first one, 8 a.m. start, followed by the Olympic 9 a.m. start. So ample time to warm up, and that's something that we do recommend. The other thing to think about is that for those who are not real comfortable running on a 4% grade, this boat ramp is probably about a 4% grade. It's cement. It probably will not have carpet on it because carpet would be slippery. So use that time to goggles on your head, start getting the wetsuit unzipped, get it off the shoulders, get it down to your waist. By the time you've done that, you're probably off the ramp and you can start running on flat ground.
Other questions about the swim? Carla and I talked about this meeting because we do meetings like this all the time for races. One race. This is a 4-race meeting. So we kind of have to keep our foot on the gas pedal. So don't hesitate to either interrupt us, throw something in the chat, whatever it takes to get your point across, because we're going to be moving on. So we're staying in chronological order.
I saw that wave lists are only going to be listed, I think, a week before.
Yeah.
But traditionally, is it always one wave per age group, or
Typically it has been in the past. My concern, Claire, is that I think the numbers are a little lower than what they've done in the past. And so they might group some people together. I think they'll try and get, 60 to 80 in a wave.
Okay.
So Saturday morning, 8 a.m. is the long course. We've talked about the swim. We've talked a little about the transition. Let's talk about the bike course. Here it is. It's about 56 miles, might be 55. There is 3,700 feet of gain. A lot of it happens in the last quarter. So you come out and you roll along Beach Road, which is bumpy and twisty and turny, and you're just kind of getting your act together. And then you've got Beach Hill. I'm at mile 1.4 right here. It tops out at mile 2.1. So it's about a half a mile. A lot of it is 8%, 10%, 9%. It's not the end of the world. It's really not. You've got a mile and a half spinning on flat before you get into it. The bottom isn't as steep as the top, so it gives you a little time to get grooving. And then once you get out the top, you get a nice descent reprieve. You roll out of the park, you get on Interlake Road, and then you're just cruising along. There's some great descents, like mile 12 right here. You've got a nice long, like 4 to 6% descent that goes all the way down to mile 15. When you turn onto Holon Road, now I haven't been here in a couple of years, but right here, mile 20, you turn onto Holon Road. 10 years ago, Holon Road was one of the roughest roads I've ever ridden on. I can't imagine it's been improved, but maybe they did. Maybe they resealed it. Maybe, I don't know. But it's a chip seal country road. And for you to ride, if you can, a wider tire. Keep in mind, when we rode it, back in the day, I was like on a 21, 23 millimeter tire, and I was at 110 PSI. And now we know that riding on a 28, 30, 32 millimeter tire at 60 to 70 PSI is so much faster, and it's better for your body, and it's really a joy. So this is a time period to enjoy this ride, because Holon Road has been bumpy in the past, and I'm sure just because of the way our tires have changed and disc brakes have allowed for wider tires, it's just really, really joyous. Right here again, I'm at mile 26 and a half, and you've got another steady, beautiful 2 to 3 to 4% downhill all the way to mile 35. That's great. Little lump here. And this is the part where if you're coming in for long course, you will have driven this 34.7. You turn off of Holon Road, and now you're riding the course. You see nasty grade and the little lump that follows. Huge descent afterwards. And then you roll in back into the park, down Lynch Hill. It's a screamer, right into transition. I got to tell you guys, this whole course is so beautiful and so great, and I don't know, I'm just thrilled everybody's doing it. I want to come down here because I want to talk about the beginning of the run for a second. Here's our transition area. You come down Lynch Hill, you dismount, you get to your rack. The beginning of the run is totally flat in the transition area. It starts to go down the boat ramp a little bit. And then right here is a set of stairs. And you have to run up these stairs or walk. and you turn left and you go out this little sidewalk, and then finally you're on the road that is going to take you through the rest of this course. And the run course is really hard. It's 13 miles. A lot of it's on trail. It's very hilly. Just to give you a whiff of it, I will show you this. This right here constitutes the first
Ian, do you
9.
want me to show the ride with GPS? I have it up.
Yeah, show that. Let me stop my share and you can jump in.
Okay.
There's 2 hills on the backside of this course that are in trails, and I would just say this right away. 9 times out of 10, it's logical that you walk those 2 bits. And the reason is because there's a lot of good running later in the run on the other side of that. Some flat running, some downhill running, some gorgeous running. But you have to get over those hills starting at mile 4 and ending at like mile 5, where it's 10 and 11%, and you're on dirt in the woods. And if you have it in your mind that I'm going to push through and I'm going to keep a good pace through here, you will probably run those. And then you will probably walk a lot of flat and downhill stuff later on because of it. So I just want to suggest that when you get into the trails on the backside and you start to approach mile 4, there's some really steep stuff that comes in there, and it's legit. It's really legit. There it is right there. There's 12%.
12%.
There. Yeah. And then you get a little reprieve, but the next hill comes right away, and it's like 10.5 or 11%. So there's 2 very steep pieces in there. You come back out on the pavement, and there's a thing we call the pit. Keep going. Carly, you're going to get to mile 9. You're at the top of it. And you basically turn, you go down a paved hill. You get to the very bottom, it flattens out for a second. You turn around and climb up that same hill. And so the pit really requires some focus too. It's not crazy steep, but it's insulting. And then you get back in the park, you've got some nice flat, there's a final bump, and then you're running down Lynch Hill, that hill that you finished the bike ride on, and it's a real leg sapper to run down a steep hill for half a mile. This course is notoriously hard, and if you're a Wildflower long course finisher, people know what that means, and it's real.
And it appears as though it finishes on, is it just dirt or is it actual sand?
No, it's the paved parking lot. It's
Okay.
pavement, but it's old pavement.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ride with GPS just doesn't know the surface there.
Okay.
Okay, questions on long course?
Ian, are there any on any descents on the bike on long course that are like, I know you said there's some significant downhills. Are there any like turns we need to watch out on those downhills, or is it you can pretty much just open it up?
Yeah, there's only one spot that I really think is quite dangerous. And it's after you get up to the top of Nasty Grade. So let me come back to Wildflower Long Course. Here we go. So after you summit Nasty Grade, and I'm going to zoom in here. So here's Nasty Grade. You're coming up this thing and you turn right and you're kind of headed back towards the park now. And there's a couple of ranches here and there's a little more climb. And then once you get up to here, it's like finally it's over. Okay. This is a big descent and it's steep, like 8%. I mean, 10%, 12%. You can really fly down here. And the problem is not the turns. These are all sweepy. They're wide open. It's great. The problem is the road surface is bad. And in years past, like right in the middle of this somewhere, and you'll know it when you drive it, but there's been a sizable bump there. And we've seen people come off the bike there before. So this is the only place I would say you really have to pay attention to it. But the rest of this course it's very safe. It's very raceable. It's a raceable course. There's a lot of mileage on Interlake Road and on Holon Road where you can just have at it. And I just have to say, in most half Ironmans, you just have to say to yourself, look, you got to save it for the run. You got to save it for the run. Because of the elevation in this run course, you have to save even more for the run. So the idea that you would really cruise the bike ride, keep yourself aerobic, sip and snack, keep yourself topped off, and people are passing you, and you just, remember those kids because they're going to be walking the pit at mile 9, 10 when you run right by them and finish 20 minutes ahead of those people. So this is a course you really save it for. What other questions do we have about long course? I'm thinking you finish, you go into the expo and just lay in the grass for a while, get something to drink, get something to eat from there, like post-race food down there. Really take your time to replenish. Then when you're ready, you make it back up into the Redonda Vista campground, but don't be in a hurry. Take extra clothes down there that you can change into afterwards and get comfortable. You can even rinse off down there. Like, don't be in a hurry to come back to the campground. Take things with you so you can chill, because it's very often that you finish this race and you hurt so much you don't want to walk up or even take the shuttle back up to the campground. You just want to hang out. So prepare yourself to do that. Okay, coming back to the schedule, that was long course. Of course, there's open water swims, and look at this. There's a trail run at 11:45 on Saturday, and then there's a 5 and 10K at 7 p.m. on Saturday. We're not going to get into those. They're going to use the existing courses, so there's no mystery for any of that. Now let's talk WildFlower off-road um, race. I know Claire's doing it. I know Megan's doing it. I want to tell you guys that I have raced this in the years past many, many times, won my age group many times, finished in the top 5 overall many times. I have very big personal goals for myself here, and I'm stoked for 2 reasons. One, they've changed the bike course and it's far more interesting. 2, they're allowing gravel bikes. So here's the deal. Swim's a piece of cake. It's crazy short. You go out about 200 yards, turn right around 2 buoys, come back 200 yards, done. My swim splits in the past have been like in the 5-minute range, and I swim about a 130 in the pool. There's no way you're going to be in the water for over 8 minutes. But you won't be. You can't be. You could dog paddle the whole way, and you will not be in the water for over 8 minutes. You come out, you transition. Here we go. The beginning of this bike ride is going to be interesting because this is a very bumpy, twisty road. Same road long course used and the same road we use. And if you're starting late and you're a fast bike rider, you're going to have to pass a lot of people on a narrow road. So heart rate's going to have to be just low enough to scream on your left all the time. Be aware of that. Be ready for that. Megan, Claire, and I and others are going to inspect this on Friday so we know every nook and cranny of this course. There's a place in here where we leave pavement and we get into dirt. And it's right here after Beach Road. And it's smooth dirt. It's wide dirt. It's the pavement has been so bad in the past that sometimes the dirt is smoother than the pavement. There's some lumps and bumps. It's a real punchy kind of ride.
This is the same as the long course run so
It's the
far.
same as the long course run. That's exactly right.
Okay.
The first real steep commitment is right here. This is a 9-10% paved climb. It's steep and it's hard. It's straight as an arrow, so you can see it for a long time coming on. I don't think there's any reason to attack this because there's a lot of work to do afterwards. When you finish topping out here, I'm going to go to satellite because things get weird here. You're going to turn right into yet another campground, and you're going to weave between some cars. Then it's on trail. Then that trail is going to come down across yet another boat ramp, and you're going to drop by this bathroom, and you're going to get on a in the past, what in the past has been a narrow trail. Remember, everybody, this is the same as the long course run right here. So the details of this matter. I've been here some seasons where they didn't groom it, and it was single track, and there was a lot of grass. I'm willing to bet that they bring like some big tiller through here, and they churn it up and beat it down, and if it stays dry, it'll be dusty. If we get rain, it'll be packed. But this is a gorgeous run and bike route. It's a single track trail along the lake. There's some climbs in here, but it's not bad. It's all rolly and beautiful, and there's some little fingers you can play with. It's just gorgeous, this thing. Then we turn away from the lake and we get into it. So here you go, mile 4. We start climbing at 4%, 5%, 6%. Then right here at mile 4.5, so we've gone a half a mile. Now it's a wall, 8%, 11%. Carla's already showed us this. You get over this and you get a little tiny reprieve, and it's a little technical because there's this little turn right here in the descent, 90-degree turn on dirt. That's a technical moment for us on the bikes. It's maybe one of the only technical moments. Then we dip down and we climb again. Mile 5.1's at the bottom, 5.3's at the top. It's not very long, but 10% all the way up this thing. When you get to the top of this, this is the big opening and the big descent right here on dirt. There's a very steep descent on dirt, 11%, 10%, 7%. And at the bottom is a sweeping right turn. For cyclists, not technical. For runners, I think you'll find it a joy. And then you start running back towards the park entrance, and it's pretty flat. This is a really nice section right here. So for the mountain bike, gravel bike, and runners, this is a really nice piece right here. You go past the park gate. There's a little climb, but it's no big deal. And then a fun thing happens. You come out into Redonda Vista Campground on the pavement, and you run right past the LA Tri Club zone at mile 7.6. And we'll also ride right past this on the mountain bike, gravel bike tri. The latter half of this is so fun. You go through this flat downhill section. It's crazy fast, smooth. There's wildflowers in the grass. It's gorgeous. And then right here, this is where the change happens. If you're running the long course, you're going to turn right, go down into the pit, and come back out. For us doing the bike, you're going to turn left, ride pavement on downhill, really flat for a second, little tiny dirt climb, and then we plunge back down Lynch Hill to transition. It's about 11 miles. It's 900 feet of gain in 11 miles. That's pretty legit. And there are some really punchy, short, hard climbs. And I will tell you that in the past, I have overridden this bike course and I have stitched in the first 800 meters of the run and had a terrible, terrible run. So I just want to say to you, ride it logically. You can attack some of the peaks, but don't go nuts because you want to keep some speed later on. As we talked about, the run goes up the steps, right along the grass, and then here's your run. It's 1 mile out, the same route, all the punchy climbs, turn, come 1 mile back, and then I'll show you guys when we preview the course, but you end up turning up above this, running towards Lynch Hill, and then making a 180 degree and coming into the finish chute. And I want you to know that because if there's somebody around you, I want you to beat them. So that's the off-road sprint on Saturday. It's pretty straightforward. Questions about that?
I guess we'll only see when we're there, like how deep that single track is, because I'm just thinking about, say, if you have to pass somebody,
Yeah.
like too much of a trough or whatever.
This is why I think they're going to grade it, is because they've never done the bike course on those trails back there, and I think they want it to be wide enough for passing.
Right. Okay.
But also, I say take no prisoners. You cannot sit behind somebody who's slow, and so you have to choose your tone and your language through the heart rate to create the pass. And I think a lot of people want to let you by. So, yeah. Okay.
Ian, do you expect the bike to be really well marked? I just worry that there won't be a ton of people out there and, it's people to follow and.
Yes, I really do. And I want us to ride it together on Friday anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Let's go back to the schedule very quick because now we're moving to Sunday. As Carla told us, on-road sprint. This is a brand new race. They've never done this here before. 8:30 a.m. The swim is the swim. We already know it. It's fine. Let's take a look at the on-road sprint bike course. 12 miles, 1,200 feet of gain. That's a hilly ride right there, people. You come out of transition and you climb Lynch Hill. Here it is. There's some sections here that are, Ride with GPS thinks this is 12% here and that's 13. I don't know if it's that steep. Feels like 10. Maybe it is. I don't know. You kind of lump your way out of the park, which normally you wouldn't pay much attention to because you're going to ride 56 miles or 40K or whatever. But the reality is, by the time you get out of the park and you're on Interlake Road, you've done like the first third of the ride. So you turn right, there's a nice descent. You start a little climb. When you get up into the flats, there's a U-turn right in the middle of the road. By the way, typically Interlake Road is open to traffic during our race, but there's so few people there. It's like one ranch truck every hour. So I think they'll just have a cop there with a cone in the road and a stop sign. And if they see a cyclist coming, they'll just stop the car. Then we come back. There's a couple of bumps in here. This one right here is not very long, but there's 7%, 8%, fine. You turn back into the park. This hill's always a bitch coming home right here. 5, 6, 7%, 3%, fine. You go through the gate. you're back to the top of Lynch, and you plummet back down to transition area. The 10K run. Well, I'm embarrassed. Wait, no, this is the 5K run, right? Yeah, this is the out and back that just goes past what the off-road does. So let me just say this. I'm going to go to right here. The run for the sprint goes out this lumpy thing. It gets out to, I think, the 1.5 mile mark, and it makes a U-turn and comes right back. Super simple for the 5K run off the bike. But punchy climbs, like hard to get a rhythm. Okay, questions about on-road sprint. Is anybody here on this call doing the on-road sprint? Fine, moving on. Let's take a quick look at.
So sorry, Ian. I couldn't find anything. My daughter Ryan is doing the on road. I'd love to hear a little bit about it, please.
Yeah, so it's fine. I'm just gonna say this. When you rack your bike, like before you even go to the swim start, when you rack your bike, put the bike in the absolute easiest gear you have. Small chainring up front, big cog in the back. When you come out of the swim, strip off your wetsuit, put on your helmet and your shoes, and for the first 150 meters, that gear will be too easy. Stay with it. Because the best thing you could do is just let your legs float for a minute. Let some of the blood come up from upstairs down into your legs, because you're going to get into this Lynch Hill climb that is just serious. I mean, there's no other way to express this. It is 0.8 miles long, and Ride with GPS says it's 12 and 13% near the top. It's just a long grind uphill. There's no way to ride it fast because you've just been swimming minutes ago. Like, you're just going to get on the bike and get it done. And then after that, the rest of the riding is going to be great. But that hill is, don't expect to be fast because you won't. Nobody else will be fast. You're just going to kind of get up it, and then you go for the rest of the ride. The run's just going to be fun and easy. It's a 1.5 miles out, 1.5 miles back. It's kind of got some punchy climbs, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Come on up here, sweet. Okay, Olympic. The swim's the swim. We've talked about it. It's really easy. Come into transition. We've looked at the beginning of this already because we've talked about it, but you've got to climb up Lynch Hill. You roll out to the park. When you get to Interlake Road, now you've got some nice riding to do. There's a pretty tough climb at mile 8.5 that goes up, and the top part is steep, but the bottom part isn't bad. The bottom part's like 4%, but the top right here gets to 8 or 9. And then look at this descent to the turnaround. 9.5, mile 9.5 down to mile almost 12.5. You've got this 3-mile steady descent that's totally rideable. You can pedal the whole thing. You get down here to the bottom, there's a cone in the road. You make a U-turn. Now you got to climb back up that thing. No problem. There's a dip, and then you're back into the park, and you come down Lynch. It's an out and back. There is.
So considering the road surface here, is it better than the long course?
Yeah, it's better.
And is there ample room to pass people?
Yeah, for sure. It's a 2-lane highway with very little shoulder. You don't need it. It is open to traffic, but very few people drive this. And there's big signage on either side that says bikes on the road today. So the locals know about it and they avoid it. And there's lots of room to pass here. 24 miles, 2,000 feet a gain. The run, I didn't bring it up, but I'm going to go to it right now.
I've got it.
You got it? Yeah. Hey, where are you? Come here. Come here.
All right. In general, we've got somehow we're missing us a little bit of the distance, but we've got 545 feet of elevation gain. You have as much as a 10% grade going uphill at one point, which I think is right here at about the 2.5 mile mark, right in here somewhere, right there. And you've got a lot of kind of steep descents also, which is, I think, primarily here at Lynch Hill. Yeah. So, and just speaking about the run courses in general, especially for the long course and the Olympic distance, I want you to think about what you've been doing in your training. A lot of our performance athletes have been on a training plan since February. We started them with doing 30-second hill repeats. then 2-minute hill repeats, then longer 4-minute hill repeats, building in endurance runs for our long runs on the weekend that incorporate hills as well. So hopefully you've gotten some hill training in and you can recognize where your strengths are. So there's very little, like this is not your typical 10K or half marathon kind of race where you find the right gear, you find the right heart rate, you find the right pace, and you just stick with it. That's not going to happen in this race. So there's going to be, I would suggest that everyone have what's your maximum heart rate you want to be at in this race? And if you get past it, maybe you have an alarm on your Garmin to alert you so that you're knowing that, okay, I am going to push it to the top of this hill, knowing that I'm going to have a nice long descent afterwards and I'll be able to recover. Or knowing that, let's say you're here at mile 2.5 and you have ample climbing to go and you do not want to be exceeding your maximum heart rate in this 1.2 mile section of the course. So know your strengths. Are you really good at short, sharp hills? This will be a great course for you. There's a number of good sections that just have some fairly like 4%, even less grade, where if you've been training for that, you'll be quite strong. And then some people just run really well downhill. I am not one of those people. This on paper looks like a nice fast finish, but for me, running downhill at a 10.5% grade is not going to be as fast as I would like a typical race finish to be. So know that there's very, very little dirt on this one, just this one little section in here, and a little bit of broken up section over here, which we're back in the park. So yeah, there's going to be quite steep points. Don't be disappointed in yourself if you need to walk at certain points in this race. It's okay. Use your momentum of your legs. Don't just shuffle along. Take big strides if you need to break down into a walk, but just pay attention to when the grade changes even slightly, giving you the advantage to get your feet underneath you, get your turnover up, and start shuffling your feet and getting back into a run. Let's see. I guess the other thing that we didn't state, but I think maybe it wasn't totally clear on the map for the long course, I just want to touch on it in a minute. It is 60% dirt and 40% paved. So if you have trail shoes, I would definitely plan on that for this race. I would definitely bring them with me at least.
Yeah, those are great points. Hey, Carly, you figured out what was being served on long course, right? The fluid, do you remember? Oh, it's base, right? It's base hydration.
I didn't write it down. I think that sounds right.
Yeah, that's right. I think they're the sponsor.
Does anyone want you to dig any further into this run course?
What about aid stations on the run course?
I think I saw that there were 3.
Yeah.
3 is not every mile.
There's just 3. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to decide if I want to bring, a water belt or anything like that, which
It's going to be, right now they're saying it's going to be high 80, 82, and it's not been that warm in LA. I know you're in the valley and so am I, but it's not even been that warm in the valley. So maybe consider I bring it.
Yeah.
It's nice to have it.
Right.
And decide on the day. Trying to think of what else I want to say about this race. I don't know. Boy, I've had some fun times here. I'm excited we're going back. Terry Davis, the guy who started this thing, ran it for many years, and now it's his daughter, Colleen, that has it taken over. And I love all triathlon. I have no judgments. I'm agnostic. But a mom and pop put on race means a lot to me. And I'm just really glad that we're all supporting this event. It's fabulous, and I think you're really going to dig it. You're really going to dig it. This used to be a Kona qualifier, and there used to be a big prize purse here for pros, and it was, when you did well here, it was so respected because people knew how hilly and hard it was. Francie?
Yes, I just had a quick question. Is there any help on the course if you get a flat tire on the bike? I just haven't had to change one yet. I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
But what I'd really love is for you and I to sit down at camp on Friday afternoon,
And learn.
and I'm going to change a flat for you, and you're going to
Yeah.
go into it with total confidence that you can do it. So this is all I ask, because I can tell you this too. If you've got a kit bag under your saddle or somewhere on the bike, I would wager that a participant would stop and help you do it before the sag wagon showed up. So, but you have to have a tube, a tire lever, and a CO2. You have a tube, tire lever, and some inflation device. You've got to have the stuff. So if you have the stuff under your saddle, you're going to succeed, because there's lots of people like me who show up at races and they're there to have fun, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'm racing Saturday and Sunday, and Sunday I don't care what happens. If somebody's pulled over, I'm going to stop and chat them up and see if I can help. That's not going to happen on Saturday because I have goals there. But there'll be people like that on the course who will pull over and help if you need it.
Cool.
Yeah. What else? Other questions?
We have a club mechanic coming with us as well.
Yeah.
John Harakuni from Home Bike Stop, who's one of our sponsors, and he'll be there for the weekend too.
Oh, great.
That's super helpful.
Yeah.
And I have a question.
Shoot,
It's Rosalind. I'm just doing the 20K trail run. Is that the same run course as the long course run course or the Olympic run course? Do you know?
I'm quite certain it's going to be the same as the long course run course. And
Well, that would be 13 miles.
Yeah.
20K is about 13 miles.
yeah, I'm very certain that's the course they're going to use.
Okay.
So Rosalind, that's 1,200 feet of elevation gain.
That's the helicopter.
That's called walking. I should say I'm doing the trail hike.
Got you. It'll be beautiful.
That's what I figured.
You know what? I'm looking at it right now, and it is everything that the long course run is, except it doesn't go down into the pit and come back out. So it's a little shorter and a little less in elevation. So that's a good choice. You'll love it, Rosalind. It's stunning.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ian, do you recommend trail shoes for the long course run?
No. Run in a race flat, anything you want. Yeah. Okay, we're about to stop recording, but before, collective noun for turkeys. And it is a rafter of turkeys. There you go. That's what we're going to end on. I'm going to stop recording right